Am I allowed to put funny hats on us?
You can if you want. There's no rules.
Is there no funny hat policy? Is there no Google Hangout toys?
There hasn't been a need for one until now. All right, so our video is live, Anthony Carboni. Are you ready to do a podcast?
I'm super ready.
Are you ready to do an audio podcast on video?
You've got layers, buddy. You've got layers of complexity.
Wheels within wheels. All right, here we go. Oh, by the way, just got this new open from a guy named Clint. Said it yesterday.
I hear Clint's the best.
Never played it before. Here we go.
It's the Daily Tech News Show! All the tech talk that's fit to talk about! And it's all amazingly brought to you by you! Go to patreon.com/acedetect or bit.ly/helpdtns and give as little as 5 cents a day, like me. And now, here's your host, Tom Merritt!
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, July 23rd, 2014. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, host of We Have Concerns at wehaveconcerns.com, Mr. Anthony Carboni is on the show. How you doing, Anthony?
Good, man. How are you?
I am doing fantastic because I like shopping and it's Kindle Fire Phone Day.
There were so many things in between me and my shopping, and I wanted to get rid of all of those layers.
Yeah.
And I feel like now there's finally nothing coming in between me and my identity as a consumer.
We're going to get into more about that. I guess it's not a Kindle Fire Phone. I apologize to the Fire Phone fanboys. It's just a Fire Phone. Let's start off with the headlines. PC Mag is among the folks reminding us that Apple's public beta of OS X Yosemite begins tomorrow. The first 1 million people who signed up at appleseed.apple.com will get a link to download the beta and be asked to submit feedback when they run into problems. Yosemite has been available to developers and will be finished and available to everyone later this autumn. In addition, 9to5Mac reporting that sources are telling them Apple's going to revamp several Mac models when OS X Yosemite becomes real later this autumn. Apple's reportedly prepping a smaller MacBook, likely a 12-inch Retina MacBook Air, an iMac with a higher resolution screen, and maybe even an external display that runs at 4K. Are you among the chosen, Anthony?
I am. I've really been looking forward to it. You know, what's funny is my Apple desktop is no more, which kind of bums me out because I was looking forward to the beta. But I'm probably just going to go ahead and put it on my laptop and ruin my work life.
Yeah, they make a big deal of
I'm that guy.
Put this on a backup machine, not a production quality machine. And yeah, it's funny is Brian Ibbott from Coverville paid to become a developer and put it on his only laptop that they then brought to Nerdtacular and was like running the Trivia Spectacular off of it. That's bold.
Yeah, I mean, how did it do?
It did fine. Looked
weird. There you go.
But yeah, I mean, looked different.
Yeah, it looks really weird, right? Yeah. I try to remember that every time I try a new Apple OS, it looks really, really weird for 3 months. And then I can't look at the old ones. Normal. Yeah, for sure.
ZDNet's Mary Jo Foley points out a passing comment Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella made in the company's earnings call yesterday should not be taken out of context. Regarding the mythical One Windows strategy, Nadella said Microsoft will, quote, streamline the next version of Windows from 3 operating systems into one single converged operating system for screens of all sizes. Now, a lot of people just took that quote and ran with it. They've been saying things like that for a while. Later in the call, though, Mr. Nadella clarified this means one team will now develop all variants of Windows. They'll all be built off the NT Core. They'll have a unified store and a unified developer platform. It does not mean that you can install the same copy of Windows on your phone as on your desktop. They're going to have more than one SKU.
Oh, thank God. I had no faith in them to be able to pull that off. I seriously did. And it's not, man, like, look, I'm using my Windows desktop. I love it. But that scared the crap out of me when that quote went around.
I mean, the fact that it's all going to use the NT Core finally, that's a big step for Windows Phone, and it'll be nice to have the unified App Store. Although that's annoying for some people on the desktop still, that you've got this one App Store that's in the tiled interface and these other things that you can install yourself. I'm a little worried about where that's going, especially regarding open source software. But the idea of them saying, look, we're going to unify the experience as much as possible. We're going to unify the kernel, but we're still going to have separate SKUs. I think is a good thing. As much as we make fun of Microsoft for having way too many versions of Windows, I don't think
I think it's great. The all unified thing was scary, but the idea that one team is going to be working on something consistent across platforms makes me very happy.
Hey, Anthony, did you hear? Foursquare has a new logo.
Yep.
Yeah. It looks kind of like a superhero, and it's a rosy shade of pinky russet, and the typeface is like a darker blue than it was before. There's a new navigation bar at the bottom, and there's more photos and recommendations, and it's really confusing if you still want to check in because that button's hidden away and only shows up if you have Swarm installed, and it's coming in a couple weeks to Android and iOS. Are you excited?
No, I'm confused, Tom. I'm confused as to why they took half the thing away and then they're bringing it back, but now it's two things, but it used to be one thing, but now you have... It feels like when Facebook was like, hey, do you want to put Messenger in? Hey, do you want to install the Pages app? Hey, do you want to install Poke as a separate... Poke is a separate thing. Do you want to
install Mentions? Oh, you're not famous enough, sorry.
Oh, that's a real thing?
Yeah. William Shatner panned it, apparently. But yeah... Here's the thing.
Be on the secret Shatner Facebook.
Here's the weird thing. I have Swarm installed, and I went ahead and integrated it with Facebook or with Foursquare, and it's as if they're one app. Like I only ever go into Swarm when I check the check-in button from Foursquare.
This is the most startup-y tech world pivoty appy thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, like they're just like, I know, we'll just completely reinvent ourselves. 6 months later, it's the same.
Yeah.
So
I imagine the logo process being very similar to that described in the show Silicon Valley.
At least they didn't get the Airbnb guy.
Yeah. The next web reports Microsoft announced the Lumia 530 arriving at the beginning of August in Europe for 85 euros before tax and subsidies, but they figured it'll be around 100 euros pretty much everywhere it's sold. The low-end Lumia has a 4-inch 854 by 480 screen, runs Windows Phone 8.1 on a 1.2 gigahertz Snapdragon. You can also select from one of many brightly colored interchangeable shells. Well, 3 of the colors are bright, if you consider white to be bright. The colors are bright orange, bright green, white, or gray.
I think white is literally the brightest color. So
that's all the
yeah.
No, black is all the colors.
There's additive, and then there's the
white is all the colors.
And then when they're RGB versus
black is the absence. Anyway, the 530 will also be available in single and dual SIM versions. Please don't send any email explaining the difference between black and white and additive and.
No, do it. Tom really wants to know.
We
want half of the emails to come from art students and the other half to come from engineers.
Yes, exactly. VentureBeat reports Google has purchased Helsinki's own 3D graphics startup Draw Elements for an unofficial $10 million. Arctic Startup says that it's going to be $10 million. Draw Elements lets developers test various GPUs across mobile devices. That should be pretty handy for Android devs at Google, one might think. Also, it will be party time in Finland as the management team will be moving to Mountain View while the rest of the team will be left to create a workers' paradise in Helsinki.
Man, I mean, on one hand, you get $10 million and that's great, but on the other hand, did you see that Morgan Spurlock episode where he got to go live in Finland? It's amazing over there. I would hate to leave Finland if I lived in Finland.
Well, can you imagine if the management team's like, we're going to have to move to Mountain View to be part of the Google campus, but you guys are going to stay here, so behave yourselves.
Yeah. Work is outside every day.
You got it, boss.
Campuses.
Messaging app Line announced a new hidden chats feature for Android and iOS users that lets users send messages with a time limit attached for more ephemeral private conversations. Time limits can be set anywhere from 2 seconds up to a week, although you have to pick pre-made amounts. Bloggers are now working furiously to post how-tos that describe ways to subvert the feature and keep the ephemeral messages anyway.
I like that everybody's adding their own Snapchat to everything now.
It's kind of like a checkbox now. Like, oh gosh, we need a Snapchat thing.
It's actually if you go into your X tools, if you're an iOS developer, you just check off add Snapchat. It's just there.
Rolls it in.
Yeah.
It's an API.
It's beautiful.
TechCrunch reports Facebook beat earnings projections with $2.91 billion in revenue and earnings per share of 42 cents. Take that, analysts who only thought they would get $2.81 billion and 32 cents a share. Facebook reported 1.07 billion monthly mobile users and 654 million daily mobile users. 62% of its ad revenue now comes from mobile. Facebook has 1.32 billion monthly users overall and 829 million daily users. Total user count is up 3.125% from
How
Q1.
long do you think it's going to be before the Facebook ad platform leaves Facebook? Before they try to become like a Google AdSense, but using Facebook data mining instead of Google data mining. I feel like that's the only thing that's making them money.
Within 2 years, right? What they were trying to do for the past couple of years is prove to the street that they could make money off mobile, because that was the big ding when they IPO'd. But you don't. What are you doing on mobile? You're not doing anything on mobile.
They got that Poke app. They got that Mentions app that Shatner's on.
Yeah, and now they're just like killing it on mobile. And in fact, they haven't brought their ad system from mobile back to the desktop yet. So that would be the next thing I would watch for, is if they make that system available for desktop ad purchases. And then, yeah, I think they will explore more ways to syndicate and provide ads to other people. And then they and Google will get into a pit and fight over ad money.
I would like to see that. Mm-hmm. Hoodie versus hoodie.
Larry Page and Zuckerberg at Tanagra. Reuters reports that AT&T announced that its quarterly revenue rose, but slightly less than Wall Street forecasts. AT&T earned $3.6 billion at 68 cents a share in the second quarter, compared with $3.8 billion or 71 cents a share that was expected. So they fell a little short. That was not the expectations. That was the year-ago quarter. So they fell from last quarter. Revenue rose to $32.6 billion from $32.1 billion in the year-ago quarter. Time for some news from you. These are things posted on our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. I look at that to see what stuff's getting upvoted, what stuff's getting submitted. metalfreak posted the Wired article calling attention to the fact that Marvel is selling 1 month of access to its online comics archive for 99 cents. That gives you access to more than 15,000 digital comics from the Golden Age to the halcyon days of 6 months ago for 99 cents.
I actually had Marvel Unlimited last year, and it was a little kind of kludgy and awkward to use, and there were big holes in important parts of the collections of titles, and their reader was really, really weird and hard to use. So, but I'm thinking about signing up for this just to see how far it's come.
And the reader you're talking about on the desktop or the app?
So they tried to use I think they tried to write one reader to go across all platforms. So what's really good in a nice clicky browser became like the slowest, hardest to tap reading platform on a tablet. It was really strange. But for 99 cents, I'm going to try it out again.
Yeah, because the service is usually $10 a month or $69 for a year. But you only have a week. 99-cent offer ends in 1 week. You get it for the whole month, but you got to sign up within the week.
The Frogurt is cursed.
eean, with 2 E's, submitted the Ars Technica story that Verizon has been opposing net neutrality rules, partly under an argument that so-called fast lanes could be used to make more accessible services for blind, deaf, and disabled users. Several groups who lobby for accessibility have filed comments asking the FCC not to let Verizon speak for them, writing, quote, "In no case should accessibility considerations form a basis for permitting paid prioritization more broadly, and the Commission should reject any overture to the contrary." Now, if you're like, well, okay, one organization said that. That was co-written by the Telecommunications for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, Inc., the National Association of the Deaf, the Hearing Loss Association of America, Deaf and Hard of Hearing Consumer Advocacy Network, and Rehabilitation Engineering Research Center on Telecommunications Access. So,
I like that their argument was, we have to segregate the differently abled. This is why we need this. And they thought nobody was going to speak up.
Yeah.
There's no way to give them access to the internet unless we segregate them. We
must give them a fast lane and make it faster because we want to charge more for things. And that could be a thing, right? Seemed to be their argument. The American Association of People with Disabilities also wrote to oppose allowing paid prioritization, but they had their own filing. Exfig pointed out The Verge posting that Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has said that, quote, "In 2020, I would like to gather all of the world's robots and aim to hold an Olympics where they compete in technical skill."
That's totally a different reason for why I wanted to get all the world's robots together in 2020.
"We call upon the young robots of the world to gather hence in 2020. Tokyo
And rise up.
Tokyo will be hosting the unenhanced human Olympics that same year, and Switzerland apparently plans to host games for athletes with robotic prosthetics, a cyber games in 2016.
Oh man, I'm so into that. Once the robot Olympics starts, I feel like it's going to be like Futurama, where no one's going to watch regular Olympics anymore.
No. Yeah,
it's going to be the Super Robot Olympics all the time.
That's going to be on the Ocho, the human Olympics. That's just going to be like kind of for weird people like me who are like, I'm into weird sports. I'll watch that. Robot's going to be where it's at. I think this is really smart on Tokyo's part.
Absolutely.
Well, or it's really stupid because you get them all in one place and then they realize how many.
All together and then have somebody, some horrible like evil mastermind flips the switch on them all at once when they're on one field in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're headed for. Actually, you've changed my mind. I'm totally against this. Shinzo Abe, please do not do this. Spsheridan posted the Scientific American article on China's planned super collider. Scientists at the Institute of High Energy Physics, IHEP, in Beijing, are working with international collaborators who want to build a 52-kilometer electron-positron collider by 2028. It would be used as a Higgs factory, allowing the Higgs boson to be studied with greater precision than can be achieved at the smaller Large Hadron Collider.
Science is amazing.
Right?
Just like 10 years ago, we were like, man, we just need to get one Higgs. Can we just get one Higgs? It's going to take all of our money and time and intelligence and power and energy. And now it's like, dude, we need to throw the switch and get this Higgs factory going.
I think we need to build a Higgs factory.
We need to keep up with the demand for Higgs.
Look, China's already dominating the economy. Do we want them producing all the Higgs too? I don't know about this.
They seem exactly like the American manufactured Higgs, but they fall apart a little easier. But they're so much cheaper. They're so much cheaper. Like, why wouldn't you buy them?
The Higgs coming out of China are much higher quality than they were in the 60s. This is entirely different. All right, that's a look at the headlines, ladies and gentlemen. AlphaGeekRadio.com is where you can listen to us. They actually play the show in reruns as well, but we record it live at mobile.alphageekradio at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. If you've got TuneIn Radio, you can get it on there. Todd Whitehead and friends are amazing over there, so please go check them out. In fact, if you are a fan of the Wootstock, the Paul and Storm / Will Wheaton production, they are the official audio stream of Wootstock Thursday night from San Diego Comic-Con. So you'll want to check it out. AlphaGeekRadio.com. All right, we didn't mention it in the headlines, but tomorrow the Fire Phone from Amazon goes on sale. $649 off plan, not unlocked. It's still locked even if you pay full price for it. Just pointing that out.
Okay.
But you don't have a contract. $199 on contract, but only on AT&T.
My first concern is where will everybody line up at midnight if the phone is an Amazon phone?
I guess you could go to an AT&T store.
This is like, I don't know, right off the bat, this to me sounds like buying the Costco phone or the Walmart phone. Like I sort of think of them as the place that I go to buy like bulk media and household items.
Do you remember Lindo's, the Walmart brand? It was based on Linux.
No.
When they got sued by Microsoft because
I do remember that.
You just can't name a rhyme after us, and they're like, no, but it's after Linux. I don't think the Fire Phone is that bad, especially because it's not cheap. If it was cheap, maybe. Because they're doing cool things. The dynamic perspective is interesting. It's different.
It's interesting. So this is the thing where it basically has the equivalent of little like Kinect IR sensors in the corner of the phone.
Right.
And it's tracking your head all the time. And I think that's cool, but I'm wondering what I'm going to use it for other than eye candy. The only thing that came to mind is I like the idea of an auto tilt to advance when I'm reading that doesn't screw up all the time. But I can't think of a single reason why I need that other than that. Those 3D backgrounds are beautiful. I guess.
And there's a few games. A lot of games are just putting it in the menus apparently, but a few games are actually taking advantage of the 3D perspective. There's also Firefly, which can scan things and give you like phone numbers and let you call. Like if you see a phone number in real life, you can scan it and call it. You can scan objects and order them, although apparently it doesn't work as well on shrink-wrapped items or anything with glare. It doesn't work on notebooks or whiteboards either. Yeah,
they said anything out of box. So I mean, I think the initial promise was you were going to be able to go to somebody's house and, if they had an hors d'oeuvre tray, because I go to classy houses, if they had an hors d'oeuvre tray out, you would be able to take a picture of that particular tray, and if it was on sale at Amazon, it would just be like, cool, I'm going to order you that tray. But from what I read on The Verge, every time they tried to do that with a product that wasn't clearly labeled in a box, it was messing up almost every time. Which to me, if the product is already in a box with the title on it, I can look it up on Amazon.
Well, I think the idea is you're in the store, right, where everything's in a box. But then if it's shrink wrapped, that's apparently it becomes a problem. It's 4.7-inch screen phone, 32 gigabytes for the base model. Only Bluetooth version 3, not the low-energy Bluetooth version 4. Nice camera, 13-megapixel sensor with 5-element lens. Engadget's Brad Mullen sums it up this way. The Samsung Galaxy S5, the HTC One M8, the iPhone 5S, and the LG G3, all of which have better displays, faster performance, stronger ecosystems, and in most cases, longer battery life. Maybe a better choice.
My question, though, is like, you know, who loves Amazon so much as a thing, as a concept? Who is so in love with Amazon that they're like, sweet, I need this phone?
Because let me list off. Here are all the big advantages to the Fire Phone.
Okay.
There's shopping.
Yeah.
That's the list.
And that's the thing that they were saying is when I read the Verge review, he said, you know, even in the interface, really all that Amazon wants to do is get the store in front of you. So you open it up and you go looking for a to-do list app is the example he gave. And under your to-do list app that's on your phone, it would also give you suggestions for similar apps you might want to buy on Amazon. Or he would go to a website that he wanted to go to, or he would look at his home screen with his favorites, and there would be other apps and other things to buy suggested everywhere in the phone, in the interface. And that's like, man, I like convenient shopping, but that feels super weird to me.
Well, and this is expensive. It's not particularly pretty. I wouldn't call it ugly, but it's not like, ooh, look at that design. It's actually a little heavy. Does that remind you of the original Kindle? This thing was expensive. It was only good for people who used Amazon for ebooks, which at the time wasn't as big as it is now. And it was ugly. And
no, I still like the look of that. That looks like some 1980s concept stuff. I'm way into that. That's like that 1980s Apple concept video where the guy had like the video phone on his desk.
Someday we'll be, yeah.
It's like going to Epcot Center every time you pick up that Kindle.
I wonder if the Fire Phone just isn't emblematic of Amazon's strategy then, which
it absolutely is.
We go ugly and expensive because we don't care. We only want the people who really are so into Amazon that they'll buy it anyway to buy the first round, because those are the people that are going to beta test it at cost for us. And then we'll come out with an improved version. I mean, the Kindle Fire wasn't bad out of the gate, but it definitely got better in subsequent generations.
Well, the Kindle Fire makes sense in a way because,
it makes more sense, yeah.
It makes more sense because I think of Amazon as a company where I buy books, where I buy ebooks. The ebook reader from them wasn't weird, and it's not so much of a stretch to go, well, this rectangle that's in my hand should do all the other media stuff that the other rectangles do. Totally fine. The weird thing about a phone is, you know, while Google and Apple have music stores, app stores, all these different ecosystems, those are side things that kind of blew up. They have these other core competencies. And I feel like when you pull an Amazon phone out of your pocket, you really see that what they have is a store. You know, they can't use any of the Google apps. They're not using Google's browser. They're not using Google's email. So automatically, they're not using stuff people are familiar with.
They have fewer apps in their store than Windows Phone. A lot of people don't realize that.
Because they use that walled-off Android store, but that's part of their big strategy too, right? Is, you know, if I open up the Kindle app in anything except my iOS device, I can one-touch buy a Kindle book. But they don't want to give Apple that 30%. I can't open up Comixology in one touch in the app because they don't want to give Apple 30%. This is really just their phone where they try to get that 30% back. And it feels very transparent that that's what they're doing. And it's weird to me that they would price it so expensively and be so aggressive about it rather than almost try to just get it into a bunch of people's hands and get that 30% back.
And that was the weird thing about the expensive nature of the original Kindle too, but it seemed to have worked somehow. Like, I don't know. I haven't quite cracked the code of why that works for them. Maybe it's because they don't lose money on it, and they're able to have people show it off. And then when they lower the price in the future, suddenly their products seem really cheap by comparison. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this is, there are some things that come along with it that are kind of interesting. So if you get it for $199, you get a year of Prime. So like maybe if you're somebody who's a little less technically inclined and you buy a lot of your stuff on Amazon and you're taking the dip into your first smartphone and you like the Mayday feature on your Kindle app, on your Kindle Fire, right? Maybe you get an Amazon phone because Amazon's a name you trust. I don't know.
There must be enough. They must expect, and whether it'll happen or not, enough people to buy this that it was worth the entree. But if it's going to continue, they're going to have to come up with better versions if they want to get a mass adoption.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I just don't see. I don't see who it's for, but I would love to hear from anybody who's buying one and just kind of get the rundown on what they love about it.
Send it to us. feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're looking at the calendar. International Comic-Con 2014 begins tomorrow, July 24th in San Diego, California. On the agenda, nothing but comic books. And
every
movies.
last-minute Batgirl costume.
And televised zombies, clones, whatever's wiggling into that eye on that billboard for the strain.
What is with those billboards with the strain?
But mostly comics. Kind of.
Those strain billboards still creep me out. I just love that people are rolling into San Diego and getting like a building-sized version of that. Just like, welcome to our fair city.
Yeah, they're playing to the audience. That makes sense. Sure. Also, tomorrow we'll get earnings reports for Amazon, Nokia, and Pandora. Our pick of the day comes from Russell Manthe. A couple of weeks ago, we mentioned Scotty Vest in passing on DTNS, and he thought it might be a good pick of the day. Scotty Vest was founded by Scott Jordan in 2000. He noticed a problem early on that people were carrying more and more gear and gadgets and chargers, and that the only vests on the market with pockets enough were designed for fishing or photography. So Scotty Vest sells technology-enabled clothing, which has pockets tailored especially for your gear, pockets that have translucent touch-sensitive lining so you can operate your smartphone while not taking it out. Others are RFID shielded. In addition to smaller pockets, there's also bigger pouches for tablets and cameras. Wireways are provided for lacing things like headphones from a device in a pocket to the collar. Vests and jackets are engineered to balance the load so the clothes do not hang on you oddly. From the outside, you would think they were normal vests or jackets, but on the inside, they're really great for keeping all your gear organized and concealed. Russell says, I have been using one through the fall and winter for the last few years, and it's great. I actually miss it in the summer.
I just want to grab one of those and a Utilikilt and some soap shoes and a Google Glass and just be 100% wired from head to toe.
Hit the Comic-Con.
Head to toe, man.
Yep.
Power Comic Con.
No, man. Check them out. ScottyVest.com. They do make some amazing stuff on there. Scott Jordan's
they've got like a hoodie on there now that's really, really awesome looking.
Yeah.
And I remember when they first came out, they looked very much like you were hiding all of your technology in them. And now they look really, really good.
Yeah, they've gotten better and better over the years. Send your picks to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com, and you can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Thank you, Russell, for that. Message of the day comes from an anonymous listener in the graphene industry. Anthony.
Whoa. Graphene spies. I'm into it.
He works for a company that produces, or she works for a company that produces graphene. I'm really happy you often talk about graphene on your show. Mass media and even tech news sites are often wrong about some of the issues and goals related to graphene manufacturing, or just don't grasp the material well. I wanted to tell you about a couple of points that are not usually mentioned from an insider. Here we go. 1, even if one is able to produce graphene, they don't necessarily know in the beginning what kind of graphene it is, and therefore what it is good for. The graphene must be characterized, and that takes time and requires access to instruments that cost millions. Oh. That would be why we're not getting tons of graphene. Number 2, one of the hurdles, therefore, is the standardization of graphene nanofilms. At the moment, there are many companies producing G on a substrate, but the quality and other properties do not follow any standards. That holds back mass adoption.
Number 1, can we just call graphene G from now on? Can that be a street name?
G, man?
Yeah.
And 3, I also haven't heard much about graphene oxide in the media. Most of the graphene produced in the future will probably be oxide at first, and it is relatively easy to convert graphene oxide into graphene.
This is really cool because there is every time somebody does something new with graphene, it blows up everywhere. And I think it's really interesting because all of the stories are always about how simple and inexpensive and wonderful it is and how easy it is to produce. And then we all wait like 6 months and we're like, so what happened to that graphene thing that you guys know? So it's kind of interesting to see the struggles that are actually going on inside there.
Yeah, this is great because it explains. I get it now. Like, laboratory says we did this great thing with graphene, but it's not standardized. It's not necessarily easy or cheap to take advantage of. Totally makes sense.
Well, I like the idea that we're told often how inexpensive graphene is to produce, but I like that now we know that, well, you can produce a skillion tons of graphene and maybe an ounce of it is the graphene you want, I guess. So that's a problem.
You may not get the graphene you want, but you will get the graphene you deserve.
That was a Rolling Stones thing.
Yeah. AJ, the geek at large in wonderful rainy Bellingham, Washington, writes, I was walking in the rain this morning listening to yesterday's show and heard Molly's declaration of data bankruptcy of Nike. I had the same thoughts about 2 months ago when I switched to Strava as I've picked up biking and running. I found a web app on a blog by Matt Stuhler at MATTStuehler.com where you can put in your Nike credentials, download the GPX data. Once downloaded, you can upload them to your next fitness app. For me, it was Strava. There is a limitation of the batch uploading on Strava. I can't remember, but I want to say it was in the batches of 30 runs. And as I don't trust anyone on the internet, I also changed my password to my Nike Plus just in case after using this site. But I've completely stopped using Nike Plus and convinced my friends to liberate themselves as well.
That's awesome because I actually switched to Fitbit a little while ago, and so I lost like 2.5 years of Nike runs. So that's kind of interesting to know.
I've been using Runkeeper and Nike Plus at the same time when I go for runs.
Always keep backups, data redundancy of your jogs. I have my jogs in a RAID array.
It was like, I want to move over to Runkeeper, but I want to build up some history. Well, now that I know this, I can just pull the GPX data. That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, AJ. And that brings us to the end of our Daily Tech News show. Anthony Carboni, it was a pleasure having you on Cord Killers the other week, and just as much of a pleasure having you on DTNS, man.
Thanks, man. This was fun. Yeah, absolutely.
You are doing WeHaveConcerns.com with one Jeff Kanata.
Yes. History's greatest villain, Jeff Kanata. No, yeah, Jeff and I are doing this podcast, and it's basically we take basic news stories or fluffy news stories, and we just kind of dive deep into them until we get into philosophical dread.
Nice.
Just whatever scares us the most in our core about the fluffiest news stories out there. So
that's brilliant.
It's really nice, and it's great to do with Jeff because he's outwardly so positive, which means in his core he's scared, so scared.
So
and it's great to bring that out.
Away at his soul.
Yeah, I like to chip away at every part of Jeff Kanata every week.
Check it out at wehaveconcerns.com, and you can follow Anthony, twitter.com/acarboni. Can't thank you enough, man. This was really fun.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Thank you to our patrons as well. 4,186 folks have coughed up at least 5 cents or more to help the show exist. It would not happen without those people. So thank them if you see them. Thank yourself if you're one of them. bit.ly/helpdtns if you want to figure out what the heck I'm talking about, or patreon.com/acedetect. Don't forget you can have a voice in what stories we cover at our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. You can email us. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Our phone number is 512-59-DAILY. 512-593-2459, a free local call in Austin, Texas. And you can listen to the show live at mobile.alphageekradio.com and visit our website at dailytechnewsshow.com. We'll be back tomorrow with editor-at-large Tim Stevens from cnet.com. See you then.
About this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.
And that's the show.
Yay! One day I want some sort of at-large at the end of my title.
Just do it.
I'm just going to add it.
Yeah.
I work for myself. I'm just Anthony at large now.
And just Anthony at large? And
yeah.
Anthony at large at Anthony Carboni is Anthony Carboni.
Yeah.
That was really good, man.
Yeah, man, that was fun.
Good. I'm glad you thought so.
I I don't know about that. I don't know about that phone, man.
It's
I can't.
Amazon shoppers. It's for a very slice of an audience. Like, I actually didn't figure out the Kindle thing until I looked and saw that. I'm like, that's what they're doing. They're just like, we don't care if we sell a lot of these out of the gate. We just want to get our core folks to tell us what they think of them. And then we'll come out with the next one that's prettier and cheaper, and everybody who's been criticizing them will go, oh, they fixed that.
Yeah, they have all the time in the world. They're just like this. They're like, cool, man, we'll get there. We'll get there.
and Bezos doesn't give a shit about margins, right? He's just like, whatever. You know?
It's whatever it takes to put us in there, because they really are like, they really only have like a year or two more until they just can't avoid being one click on all Apple devices and Google devices again. Like, they can only wall themselves off in that fortress for so long before they have to give in. And so this is really the only move they could pull. So I guess why not do it?
That's what it is. It's like, you know, it's a no loss. They're not charging cheap, right? So they're not selling it, you know, even if they don't sell a lot, they're not going to lose a ton on it.
I would love to know manufacturing numbers. I want to know how many of them they made.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they were pretty conservative.
Amazon that's why they got a tradition of never telling you those things.
Yeah. Maybe we can get an insider, like a Graphene insider.
It's a G thing.
It's a G thing, dog. I'm just looking to score some pure G. Not any of that oxide. Don't give me a bag of oxide.
Look,
dude.
I don't want to spend all weekend converting oxide.
I don't need your graphene shake, okay? I got that shit in the cup holders in my car.
I
want some real graphene.
Pandemic. Yellow top.
Who got them yellow tops?
Dude, you have got to watch that. You've got to watch that Morgan Spurlock Inside Man where he goes to Finland, though.
Oh yeah, that sounds amazing.
Dude, every Scandinavian country in the world, I'm just like, how do I marry into living there without pissing off my fiance? Is there a way that we can pull off like something where we do 2 sham marriages and then get
Should be cool.
next
Should
to
be
each
cool.
other?
Yeah.
Should be cool, baby. We're just trying to get some of that socialist funding.
Well, the only and there are Finnish people in the audience, so I just want to say this is not actually my opinion of Finland, but the only impression I have from Finland is the Anthony Bourdain episode, which is intentionally comically dark.
Yeah.
So I don't really have an idea of what Finland is actually like.
For a long time, the only thing I knew about Finland was there was Michael Palin did Full Circle. You know, where he went around the entire... And he went to Finland, and the only thing they showed him doing in Finland was going out in the woods in the cold and letting some old guys, while they were all naked, beat him with branches, and then they would sit in a sauna, jump in cold water.
Bourdain did that too.
Yeah. And that's all he showed. And then he left Finland, and I was like, that's Finland? Okay.
You don't have to go all the way to Finland to get beat with branches. There's Voda Spa right here on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet I could go out right now in my front yard and get beaten with a branch if I just asked nicely.
All right, I need a title.
Okay.
Showbot.replex.org is where El Khalif very brilliantly coded up a little title. Wow, we have a lot of them today.
Yeah, today was a good day for titles. My perfect favorite is that a store in your pocket?
What is the URL for this?
Showbot.replex.org.
Replex.
It is the fanciest way possible to vote on a title for this show. It's amazing. I like working in Finnish paradise, but I was thinking there's something like it must be just like Finnish paradise or gangs. I don't know. There were a lot of Weird Al Yankovic things going through my mind. But the top vote getters so far are Fire Phone Fanboys and Larry Page and Zuckerberg at Tanagra.
That's a good one. That is a good one. I like that somebody submitted Shatner book, and then right afterwards somebody submitted Shatner book.
And it's Beatmaster and Silverblade, so 2 great minds.
I had Shat book, but I don't add. I
kind of want to do it's a G thing now. Even though it's not on here.
Nothing but a G thing.
Nothing but a G. I don't know.
I think in terms of what we actually talked the most about is that a store in your pocket is certainly uh, on. It's a little long.
Got the world's biggest store in my pocket going jingle. Is that a store in your pocket will work? All right. Motion carried.
Dun, 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 dun. It's that easy. BioCow.
Well done, BioCow.
That's-
BioCow generally only communicates to me by yo, so I'm pleased to see.
Do you have Yo installed?
I do.
Wow. Okay.
And actually, BioCow is the only person that ever sends me one.
Do you know what? Do you know what one I just installed that's completely worthless is? But I love is Ultratext. Ultratext
I don't know.
makes animated GIFs. So you type your text message to somebody, but every time you hit space, it does like a text GIF with a background color and a text color. So you type in the word and it does it all big. So if I was like, "What's up?" "What's" would be super huge, white on pink. And then the second I hit spacebar, it would randomize it to like black text on blue, and then up would be different. And then I would text that to you, and that would be just like an animated GIF.
Huh.
And I like throwing real emoji heavy GIFs at people. the emojis come real big.
Lots of fish flags.
Yeah, it's great.
I could see, yeah, totally useless, but captivating.
I'm into it, man. I'm looking at these 3Ds, I'm looking at videos of these 3D backgrounds on the Fire phone, and they're pretty dope in a way that I hope somebody rips off and puts on Android or iOS.
I mean, that dynamic perspective is impressive, and we probably didn't give it its due when we were talking about it, but it's also not something that I don't think anybody else can figure out, even patent-friendly ways, right?
I mean, you could fake it with tilt or something like that, or with single camera, but yeah, it's kind of cool how reactive it is. But like you said, it's man, I'm already deciding that I'm going to develop my game for the smallest app store in the universe, and now I'm going to add additional functionality that's just going to take time.
And you pretty much have to design your game for that.
Yeah, that's
really
the thing.
Make it worthwhile.
It's not like you can just add a little bit of perspective, like you said on the menu. I think it was Sonic Rush or whatever had just on a menu, and it's like, there, we did it. We did it for the Kindle Fire or whatever. And it's like, nah, like there's no way to really show it off. The thing that I was thinking of is, like Marble Labyrinths. You remember how the first game anybody played for the iPhone was a Marble Labyrinth that you could
gosh,
throw?
yeah, I forgot about that thing. Right.
That would be sick with deep perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, because it would actually tilt. I mean, that's what it's made for. It's perfect.
Or something like Time Crisis. You remember Time Crisis in the arcade with the foot pedal, so you duck and then you come up and shoot? It would be great to Time Crisis with that.
It's a matter of, is it going to be worth it for somebody to do that? I guess with
Absolutely not. Not for a while.
No, but I was going to say with Kindle Fire out there, but Kindle Fire doesn't have dynamic perspective yet. So
maybe they'll add it. Maybe they'll add it on the next one.
And my next Kindle Fire might add it, and then that would expand the base.
I want it to come to everything. I think that's cool. But like I said, I don't know. I can't imagine opening it up and what do I do on my phone? Email, texting. Like I can't imagine using it for day-to-day stuff on my phone.
Did you see that Target now has an app that allows you to scan things and order them from Target.com?
Target should just have a phone. Let's go. Let's everybody get a phone.
They released that functionality today, on purpose, to be like, yeah, we could do stuff. Take that.
I don't know, man. Yeah, Firefly just can't, like, some things about Firefly I guess are cool, but they're cool in a way that is already replicated with Google stuff.
That's not as and unless the packaging scanning worked better.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't work any better than any of the other apps that I've seen out there. So
I was saying, like, book covers don't really work half the time. Loose objects, even though they were bought from Amazon, like, don't really, like, they're models that he knew were in the Amazon store because he had just bought them. Like, it wasn't picking up on those, even if they had, like, company logos and stuff on them. So
I love your example of the cheese tray. That was hilarious.
There's a cheese tray, dude. I mean, that's the thing is, like, when you promise,
that cheese tray.
I want that cheese tray. That's a dope cheese tray.
When I go over to Jeff Canada's, he better give me a cheese tray.
He has a lovely cheese tray. He has one of those thick faux crystal cheese trays. You know what I mean? It's glass, but it's got the facets.
Right. I think we got one of those for our wedding.
Yeah. You didn't, and you know what's, here's the thing. You didn't register for that. Somebody was just like, dude, I gotta get something. Here's a cheese, here, whatever. It looks like crystal.
You gotta love the wedding presents you get that you didn't register for because of the audaciousness. It's perfect if they get it right.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's a big win if somebody gives you something, you're like, I know this wasn't on your registry, and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing.
I think if you do that, you have to go fun, right? Like, you have to go 100%, this is something fun. Because everything on your registry, like, we're putting together our registry right now, and it's like asking for socks for Christmas 100,000 times.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I don't actually yearn for any of this stuff. I don't want it. I don't feel like we're going to use it that much, but I guess, like, if we had one around the house, it would be around the house.
Eileen kept scanning. We went through Crate and Barrel with the scanner when we did ours. She kept scanning these, like, you know, like a wooden spoon. And I'm like, don't do that. We can buy that.
That's
Go
like
for
a
more
nice,
expensive stuff.
Go get a wooden spoon, man.
We can
And that's the other thing. It's one thing, I guess, if you're getting married in your early 20s, right? And you're, I don't know, you've got 2 plates.
Yeah, you got nothing.
And your TV is on a milk crate. But
sure.
you know, like I'm in my mid-30s, man. I got stuff.
Yeah.
I got things.
I was 33 when we got married. So yeah.
So it's just like, dude, I've got a
some
bowl.
Pans.
Yeah, I got a pan. I used a pan this morning. I don't want to brag.
You pan user?
Like I'm not trying to sound cooler than I am, but I have like multiple pots if I need. Like
dude,
whatever. Like
wait,
whatever.
do you have
it's not a big
sauce
deal.
pots and boiling pots?
I don't know. One's big and one's small. What is the difference?
I don't even know if boiling pot's a real word. I just made
I also have a Grubhub account. So like whatever.
A StubHub account?
Grubhub.
Oh, Grubhub account. Yeah. Because you got hacked if you got a StubHub account.
Yeah. No. I got an air conditioner for my office.
Wait, what did you say about StubHub?
Oh, they got hacked. It was it was an exterior hack. It was yesterday that they admitted it. Essentially, what people did was they found out people's username and passwords and then went in and were using their accounts to buy things. They didn't actually get their database hacked though.
I have a particular problem with that. Shoot, I'll be back.
You would know if your account got compromised.
All right.
What are you, a big scalper? You got a side business?
No, I just happened to be using that recently to do something important for somebody I know.
I think I know what you're talking about. No, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
All right. It's distracting.
Every time
I'm hungry.
Every time I go to use StubHub, I get my heart broken.
Really?
Like I've gone to StubHub a few times because I'm like, no, everybody's always telling me to check StubHub, but they're always so expensive, and they're not supposed to be, but they are. They are.
Well, it's only expensive if you want the tickets for the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want to go to, it's not like special time. You want to go and see your team. If your team is out of bound.
Did Jenny just go Dalek for you?
You totally can't hear it, Jenny. But you probably just need to unplug your headset and plug it back in, because it just went totally like. And you sounded like a demon.
Why does it do that? Well, StubHub is demonic.
That's probably it.
Is it better?
Okay, you're fine now.
Okay. So yeah, if you just want to go see a certain team play the Angels because they're your team and you're out of market, it's like not that expensive. You get pretty good seats for not that much money. God forbid you want to see the Lakers in a playoff game. That's just the market.
Right.
But I like it. And it's never ever burned me ever. And I feel good about that.
Yeah.
See, I'm one of those people. I'm not up on events in the world enough. So by the time I'm going to StubHub, it's desperation. Like we've already reached that point.
Right.
So it's like, what? Those guys are going to be in town? Boop, 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 boop. Oh, okay, cool. That's all of the dollars.
Yeah. Well, because that's you're at surge pricing time, right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I bought ice cream from Uber. Did I tell you I bought ice cream from Uber on ice cream day?
Did you really?
Speaking of surge pricing.
How was it?
It was not great. I mean, it was just like 5 Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Like it was like an ice cream bar and then like a drumstick. It was like normal shit, but it It was $25.
Jeez.
But it was like 90 degrees, and I was like, yo, someone's gonna bring me ice cream in a black sedan. I was like, I'm about to do some grown-up ice cream man shit. Here we go.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the opposite of surge pricing when they're like, Ubers are really cheap. Wouldn't you like to take one right now?
Oh, like you got like some push notification or something?
Well, no. My car was in the shop because Eileen got a new car, which means that my car decided that it had to break down for attention.
Sure.
And so I was taking an Uber to go back to pick it up, and when I launched the app, it immediately gave me a splash. I guess if I had notifications turned on, I would have got a notification.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, Ubers are like super cheap right now. Why don't you take one? And I was like, good. I was going to take one anyway, so I'm into that.
Cool.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's been the past couple months here in LA have been like that, where if they get to a certain amount of business every day, Uber X goes down in price.
Huh.
It's like some weird thing they're doing, which I'm crazy into.
Yeah.
Because did I tell you Jess is selling that car that she bought like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
The classic, the '65 Falcon.
Oh man.
She took it into the shop, and the guy was like, "Here's a realistic view of your future." He basically just like gave her all of the timelines. And she was like, "Nope, I'm not into that. We're selling this."
She declared time war. It was like,
She nuked her own planet, put it into a she put the *65 Falcon into a pocket universe, and one day she'll return to the *65 Falcon.
She doesn't know where it is, but she's searching for it with her companion Anthony.
Yeah, she's just gonna get some new car. I was like, there you go. That sounds like it.
All right, Jenny, I'm out of the blog post.
All right, going in.
So I think we're good, man. This was
Cool.
really fun.
On target. Stay on target.
I can't shake them. Yeah, dude, this was cool. We gotta hang soon too.
Yeah, definitely. Are you going down to San Diego at all?
No.
No. All right.
No.
Well, hit me up when
Womp womp.
I'll hit you up when I get back.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Later, guys. Thank you.